What up, y'all? It's Joe Budden, here to talk about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to win real money while watching football. You can get up to 100 times your money.
Prize Picks will give you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Just download the Prize Picks app and use code SPOTIFY. That's code SPOTIFY on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play a $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Hello, Las Vegas. I've been away. Now I'm back. So let's get into this week of news. Today on CityCast Las Vegas, I'm with interim executive producer Layla Muhammad and my co-host Dayvid Figler. And we're talking about why so few people in Nevada have health insurance. The governor Lombardo has activated the National Guard for Election Day support, and the Harris campaign's big new Vegas ad. It's Friday, November 1st. I'm Sarah Lohman, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Hey, good morning, Dayvid. Good morning, Layla.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You both look cozy this morning in your hoodie, Dayvid, and your Snuggie, Layla.
Thank you.
Yeah, we don't have a hot headline today. It's a cold headline. It's cold out.
It's cold out. And welcome as well the new listeners. I'm wondering if this is your first year in Vegas and your first winter in Vegas. Surprise. Actually, I just got off a plane and I heard someone walk out to like the Uber and they were like, what the fuck? I thought it was supposed to be hot here all the time. Surprise. We have winter. We're at an elevation of 2,000 feet.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's a blizzard or anything, but yeah.
Not yet.
It's desert cold. It's different.
It's desert cold. Anyway, welcome, everybody. We'll soon start seeing some snow on those mountaintops, which is always so nice. So, Dayvid, let's get into it. It is open enrollment. I actually just got my card because up until CityCast, I was a part of the ACA and have been since its establishment. So it's time for Nevadans to get health insurance. And interestingly, a lot of Nevadans don't have health insurance compared to other states. What's going on?
Yeah, so this is kind of a twofer story, maybe part public service announcement, part story that's floating around our city right now that's always sad. And it's always sad when it comes to healthcare in Las Vegas. We typically tend to rank near the bottom of the country with all the important metrics. Maybe one of those more than others is that our uninsured numbers are as high as anywhere in the country. We're like 6th or 7th worst when it comes to people who actually have health insurance. I dug deep into the state of Nevada's annual health assessment, and it is a little grim. And so we're seeing this story. So let's go with the first part first. As you mentioned, it is open enrollment period.
Yeah.
This is a time when people need to figure out their health insurance situation the best that they can for the upcoming year. So whether you have it through your employer or whether you're on the public market through Nevada Health Link, typically you need to start making your choices now. Open enrollment starts November 1st, so today, and it runs all the way through January 15th, 2025. This is when you have to make your elections, which kind of plan you want to do. Otherwise, it becomes really hairy for you, and you have to have a big life change event to be able to sort of get into the situation. So,
like moving here. That counts as a big life change. You can enroll at any time if you've just moved in state.
You know, big change of circumstance, but you have a panel that's assessing it.
It's not as easy as doing it right now.
And so you go to the Nevada Health Link, and you'll find insurance carriers that look familiar to you. Aetna, Anthem, Health Plan of Nevada, et cetera.
Yeah. Can I jump in? I know it's unusual for me to interrupt your spiel, but I was on Nevada Health Link for my first 2 years here in Las Vegas. And like I said, I've been on the ACA in 3 different states. Just like personal communication, I feel like there's it's becoming popular to have really negative stereotypes about that insurance again. The insurance is great. It's from companies that you know. Sometimes it seems expensive if you're used to having your employer pay for it and you've paid, $0 for it. But the prices are really reasonable. And if you qualify for Medicaid, it automatically processes it within that same system and sends you your Medicaid cards. I qualified once under a Medicaid expansion, and the state of Nevada just sent me some Medicaid cards, and I had free, gorgeous insurance for a year. So I highly encourage people to do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you can be insured, whether, again, through your employment or through the ACA or through Medicaid.
And Nevada Link is ACA, if that's not clear. All the states
Correct.
have separate portals because we're a weird country.
But all that into account, Nevada still ranks near the bottom with only hovering around 88% of people have health insurance, meaning 12% don't. And then if you dig deeper into those numbers, you'll see that it is disproportionately impacting the indigenous communities here and the Hispanic Latino. So those numbers are way worse. So this is a bit of a crisis. Now, what's also interesting is that when it comes to your employer's contribution for what your health insurance costs you, that number is pretty low for Nevada. We're actually in the top 6 when it comes to affordable health insurance through your employer. It's around an average of $1,200 a year. But you have to have a job and you have to have employers in one of those plans. And if you are on the open market, it is variable. It is variable. So the big story is that we need to get the word out that people need to be insured because insurance is really important to have. And the more people who are in the system, the cheaper it actually is for everyone. That's how that kind of works. But, we also are reminded that we're not doing really well here. So that's kind of what people are talking about.
Yeah, listen, friends, both those communities, interesting that you mentioned, Dayvid. I have distinct reasons to not trust the government, right? And also, indigenous peoples have been historically underserved. And of course, if someone is undocumented, they also might not have access to healthcare. But honestly, y'all, get on Nevada Health Link. If you don't have health insurance, get yourself some health insurance. You might even qualify for Medicaid. Now, another thing, though, that I've heard a lot of since I've moved here is that we sort of have a bad reputation for healthcare, that the doctors aren't good, the hospitals aren't good. This is this kind of a stereotype that's been bandied about, too. Layla, you have grown up here. Do you think that's deserved?
I think the options here are a little sparse. We definitely have a shortage, and it is felt when looking for providers. Even earlier this year, the Nevada Current reported that we rank 41 out of 50 states and the District of Columbia, according to a report by the Commonwealth Fund, for our healthcare system. So I feel like living here and growing up here, I definitely had my providers that I went to from when I was a kid. But then growing up as an adult, I saw that I needed different care, and finding care as an adult has been really difficult. I don't think I've stayed with a provider for longer than a year.
I want to bounce off that because I think that has a direct impact to the high numbers of uninsured in our community. And that, is part of it, that there aren't enough providers in our community for all the reasons to attract and keep doctors and nurses and other health practitioners in our state. They're just not there. And so people become very frustrated that even with insurance, they're not getting the kind of care that they need. They don't have access because of the shortage. And so I think that they then look at their personal finances and they go, look, I'm paying X number per month for a health insurance that isn't doing me any good because there's no doctors I could find for what I need. So I'm just going to roll the dice that I don't get sick and use that money for food and housing and all the other very expensive things.
And look, listen, that being said, though, I've had to organize all my health care. I have a couple chronic conditions. One is migraines. One is having a uterus, being a lady part.
A chronic condition.
It
being
is
a woman.
Before ACA, that's literally considered a pre-existing condition, is having a uterus. We spend more money as women on our healthcare because we need more maintenance. That being said, it takes some time. It does. But I have been able to put together a team of doctors that I really love and I think give really good care through kind of digging around online and looking at reviews and then actually calling and talking to the offices.
Yeah.
Not everyone has the luxury of that time, right? Or the luxury of their insurance. But I do think good quality care is possible in Las Vegas. However, Dayvid, you make a great point about, someone might look at the cost of health insurance and say, I need this for rent, I need this for food, but that costs more in the long term, right? That's been the big discussion about why don't we have government-run health insurance? If people are healthier, they end up costing the government longer. So, Layla, I'll bring it back to you again. Do you have a sense of how the fact that we're underinsured here, that not enough people are sort of on health insurance, is this affecting our long-term quality of life here in Vegas?
Oh, 100%. And coming from someone who is on the younger end of the spectrum, this year I was taking off of my stepmom's health insurance. So I had to make sure, I had all my ducks lined up in a row. Thankfully, I have a wonderful job at CityCast Las Vegas that is providing me healthcare. But growing up and seeing all of my older friends, cross that threshold to 26 and losing their parents' health insurance. I had a friend who needed an inhaler and couldn't get access to an inhaler. And that was unfortunately fatal. And so I think in terms of daily life in Las Vegas and people just kind of waiting to get health insurance until something happens to them is really dangerous. And in the long term, it affects their families, it affects their lives, it affects their pockets, because once something happens, then you're paying even more money.
Emergency care is tremendously expensive.
Exactly.
Well, even with insurance, I mean, you know, high deductible, and then you still get hit for like, oh, I was in the hospital for an hour because I was scared and I wasn't sure what was happening with my body, but they told me everything was okay. And, you know, I got an IV and I walked out and it was $5,000.
Even me with insurance, emergency care would be like catastrophic to my bank account.
Yeah. By the way, you can challenge those.
But one last note on this, I wonder if in Las Vegas with our workforce, we have a lot of freelancers here.
Right.
We have a lot of people who work for themselves and sometimes don't get health insurance through their employer. So I wonder if that's also contributing to our low ranking for people with health insurance. And I hope the state option for healthcare in 2026 is going to fix that.
This episode of CityCast Las Vegas is sponsored by BetterHelp. We all know it's a little weird and stressful out there, and your own mental health, well, that needs to be a priority. Sorting through the options, finding the right fit for you, that's a daunting task. With insurance woes, time restraints, and even the stigma in seeking support, it could be an additional minefield. And whatever your state of mind, you certainly don't need to pile on. If you're thinking about giving therapy a whirl and you're looking for an easy entry, affordable option, BetterHelp is out there. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. BetterHelp has a brief questionnaire before you get started to match you with the best option, but no screening is perfect, and if it wasn't a good fit, BetterHelp can switch licensed therapists at any time for no additional charge. As the word gratitude enters our vocabulary this season, think about how grateful those around you will be to know you're taking care of yourself. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/CityCast today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/CityCast.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Okay, so let's move from one stressful life situation to another. Layla, I just got back into town, and I have heard that the governor will activate the Nevada National Guard on Election Day. What is going on?
Yes, so the governor has activated the Nevada National Guard for Election Day in Carson City and Las Vegas. He said that there will be 60 members on guard and on standby in both of those cities. They will be assisting law enforcement in things like traffic enforcement, building security, and coordinated communications across Nevada, and additional support if needed. Governor Lombardo said that he would like a safe and smooth election day. And as a first responder, that he knows firsthand the importance of being prepared. And this decision reflects his commitment to safety and preparedness on Election Day. He also said he consulted stakeholders across the state and decided on this precautionary activation, which, I mean, isn't completely unprecedented. In 2022, for the midterms, 14 states actually used the National Guard's cybersecurity division as backup for any cybersecurity attacks that they might have seen. And in 2020, there was also states like Tennessee, Wisconsin, Texas that also used the National Guard. I mean, 2020 was an unprecedented year, but they also used the National Guard to back up their election and the days after their election. This does come 2 weeks after Trump on Fox said that he would suggest using military to handle what he called the enemy from within on Election Day. So we have seen Lombardo kind of push against Trump in some ways, but I also haven't seen any other state or city deploy their National Guard for Election Day. It makes sense Lombardo, as a former first responder, is being maybe cautious for anything that could happen. This is a contentious year. But yeah, so look out for the National Guard just being around more in Nevada, in those cities, in Carson City and Las Vegas.
So it's interesting because it sounds like, I mean, Trump wants to use the National Guard. I think he said that in the quote as well, in a very partisan way, in a way that sounds very intimidating. But of course, Lombardo is also a Republican. You did mention he pushes back against Trump. But like, do you think that this will be a nonpartisan usage, or, is he taking a political stance on this?
Oh, I don't think that this is partisan on any level, although I did read the press release that came with it, and it said, in the interest of, just general safety and transparency. And I took a little issue with the transparency because I know that the governor gets briefings all the time. I wonder if anything is being seen out in the streets, or if there's any reports that suggest that we should be doing this just to make sure that there are no shenanigans, chaos. I mean, there are incidents that are being reported, anecdotes from across the country that seem to be election-focused chaos, right?
Like what?
There are some mailboxes up in the Pacific Northwest in heavily blue areas that were ignited, that were known to have election ballots waiting for mail in them. And then we're seeing stuff where people are refusing to take off their political paraphernalia, walking into a voting area, which we know is a no-no, and getting the conflicts with poll workers, that sort of thing. And then there's always the concern that the counting centers, the election centers, remain secure and free from the sort of potential attacks. So I don't think that the National Guard per se is there for cyber attacks, although they very well may be. I think it's just to kind of keep the temperature down.
Make sure there's no disorder.
In a year where those temperatures really are, Vegas summer hot.
Yeah. Let's bring it back to here, because in the 11 days I've been away, suddenly we went from like, Vegas, Nevada, okay, swing state, whatever, to the whole election being focused not only on Nevada, but on Clark County and on what happens here, which is pretty nuts. So, you're talking about transparency. Layla, is there anything that we're seeing here in Las Vegas that might warrant this response?
I haven't seen anything myself that is warranting this response, but I also think that it's important to note that we do have a police officer shortage in Las Vegas, and I'm sure Lombardo is well aware of that. And we've heard that on the podcast, too, when it comes to traffic enforcement in other areas of our community. So I'm sure Lombardo is very aware of our shortage in law enforcement officers and also wanting to back them up. So I think that makes sense in wanting to just make sure we have enough enforcement during a week that could get contentious.
One thing I have seen in Las Vegas, and my friends have talked to me about it as well, is driving by or going to polling centers and seeing, if not way more assertive, almost aggressive campaigning happening in the parking lots, and also right up to the little line where it says no campaigning past this point. So in the past, that line has always been there. People have, to my experience, been respectful not just of the line, but well beyond the line. For many people, this is a sacred space, and it's supposed to be a safe space. And so over the years, I've seen, plenty of buffer between, even the parking lot and where the line is drawn. This year, it seems like people are literally taking it as far to the line as possible. And this is something I'm hearing about in sort of the Summerlin area, et cetera. I heard it over at Desert Breeze. So I think that there's just a little bit more anxiety and tension when you're even just going to vote.
Campaigning at polling stations is not something I had seen before our primaries in the spring, like at a polling station. I've never seen that before. And I actually didn't know that about that you can't wear your Cat Ladies for Kamala or, your Trump T-shirt when you go to vote. So that's a good heads up for everyone out there. I had no idea.
You want to stay away from specific candidates when you're walking in as an advertisement. You could cover it up,
I didn't know that. Like, if it's on your body, I figured, it's just clothes. So, okay, so this is good. Don't wear anyone who you're supporting. Don't wear the stuff when you're walking into the space. Keep in mind in Henderson, too, we've got the ice cream elections coming up. So whether you support vanilla or cookies and cream, just keep those campaign posters and T-shirts at home, please.
And I also just want to add that while there is prohibited political insignia that you are not allowed to wear inside the polling place, if you are reasonably unable to remove the insignia or cover it up, they will still let you vote. They're just going to hustle you in and out of there pretty quick.
So does this make you feel safer going to the polls, or are you feeling more anxious? Layla, what do you think?
At first, when I saw this headline, I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit more anxious. I am planning on heading to the polls on Election Day for that experience.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It's fun, too.
Yeah, for a cool, nice experience. I want to check out the voting place at Allegiant Stadium.
Oh.
Yeah, so...
Hey, kids, check out voting.
Exactly. I'm headed there.
Actually, not kids. Hey, anyone over 18.
Hey, anyone over 18. So I'm headed there on Election Day, and that kind of gave me some anxiety when I first saw this headline. But looking more into it, seeing that it's really to ensure a safe and smooth Election Day, and Lombardo is approaching this from kind of just wanting to be prepared and taking this as a precautionary measure, I figured that I should be, it should be safe. I haven't seen any violence going on in Las Vegas regarding election or around polling places.
Sign stealing, things like that. That's happening in Pacific Northwest again and out east too. Yeah,
exactly. So I feel pretty safe here. Like I said, their duties really are including traffic enforcement and building security and communication across the state. And I mean, I'm not worried about seeing extra security at my polling place.
So just quick follow-up question, Layla. Can anyone who lives in Clark County go vote at Allegiant Stadium?
Yes, you do not have an assigned polling place within Clark County. You can choose whichever voting center is convenient to you, and every voting center has a registration database to access real-time voter records.
Cool. Okay, so we're actually going to keep it on politics. What do you want us to do, you all? It's literally Election Day on Tuesday. So here's something that really surprised me this morning. Kamala Harris et al. And campaign bought a Sphere ad. It is pretty long, actually, with all sorts of...
Like a minute.
Graphics and,
which
of course...
in Sphere time is like a week.
Flags. You can see it on YouTube. That's why I bring it up. They're shared on social media, and on YouTube it's set to Beyonce's Freedom. The Sphere does make noise, but I don't know if it will make noise for this ad. So, wow. What do you guys think?
I've only seen pictures of it during the day, and I think it's a little underwhelming when I've seen it during the day. I think it would be a little bit more brilliant at night and flashy and more readable.
I assume it's running in sequence because the Sphere, has a couple there's the eyeball, there's the smiley guy, and then there's the Harris ad.
Yeah, so maybe I need to see a nighttime view of it, but I mean, I don't know. It's a little underwhelming for me. I don't view the Sphere a lot, so maybe it's more geared towards tourists. But I think it was definitely a move. It got a lot of national attention, so maybe that was worth the ad spend.
It's the first political ad ever on the Sphere. I mean, the Sphere's only been around a year and change, but still, that's kind of interesting. It's a commercial space, right?
Yeah, it's the hottest surface to advertise on probably in the world right now. The Sphere became instantly iconic, and things that happen on the Sphere get reported upon all over the place. I was in a pizza place, and there was a TV on in the background playing the World Series or whatever, and all of a sudden, when they switched over to TMZ, the lead story that I saw was the Sphere. So they're getting, I mean,
Harris
that's
on the Sphere.
Advertising, and they played a good chunk of it with, the Beyonce song accompanying it. And so I think
good point, Dayvid. They didn't just pay for the ad; they're getting now free campaign advertising from people covering
it's so unusual and in such a very big way. So I don't know how fancy they could have been with the exterior advertising, or that they wanted to I don't know that they wanted to have a complex technological type of ad, but I think it's effective for what it does. I don't know, even though we are that swing state market, that locals care so much about her being on the Sphere, other than, look, now she's sort of become the first to do it. And are we going to see that more often?
Listen, those studies say that yard signs work, that
really?
Seeing that
yard
name
signs
in your community
don't vote, Sarah.
has an impact on how you perceive who you're going to vote for. And this is the world's biggest yard sign. So maybe they saw that data come back and said, let's go. I'm still caught up on whatever phrase you just used that was the world's most desirable surface to advertise on, and how I can achieve that for my future. I have to say, there's been tons of digital Trump billboards, right? They're very, very impactful. Whereas the Kamala ones are hard to read. I'm kind of disappointed by the graphic design team over there. You can't have small writing when you're driving in Vegas.
So the Sphere is definitely an answer to that, because it is clean lines. Yeah. It might be boring, but it's clean.
Clean lines, easy to read. So but this is me talking as an art school student, where I'm get it together, y'all.
Yeah, I think too, for the Harris campaign, it kind of follows suit, because their campaign strategy has been very stunt-based. With all of their stuff on social media. Yeah, with all of their stuff on social media, all of their posts, their brat summer.
She's got a crack social media team for sure.
Yeah, it's been very stunty on social media, in my opinion.
I mean, I don't know if it's stunty. Literally, they hired you, Layla. They hired a group of very cool late 20s-ish
Not
or younger.
Not me specifically.
Not you specifically. Just people. I mean, but I think of it as a team of yous, perhaps. Just cool, socially aware people.
Oh, thank you for saying I'm cool and socially aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't see candidates doing TikToks per se, although some of the candidates are showing up in uniforms at fast food restaurants and whatnot. That's very stunty as well.
A new era. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I guess we should talk about, and we'll move on to the last question. Weirdly, in the same day that Harris bought the Sphere, Trump drove a garbage truck in circles around a tarmac. So I am fascinated by the political teams, right? The campaign teams that made these two opposing decisions.
This is some high-level high school shit going back and forth between these campaigns right now.
It's wild. And the garbage dump truck said Trump on the side. I guess he has been saying garbage a lot, but you haven't seen this yet, Dayvid?
Oh, no, I did, but it's a response to something that Biden said, which was a response to something that someone at one of his campaign rallies said.
I just don't think you want to associate your campaign with... I mean, I thought it was like the McDonald's thing, hey, I'm a garbage truck driver now.
Well, he had the reflective vest on.
I mean, nothing against garbage truck drivers. I love our garbage truck drivers. Okay. So since I've been gone, the national election is suddenly focused on Clark County, which is wild. And the Harris campaign answered with a really Vegas stunt. Someone said, let's put this thing on the Sphere. So if we've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Today, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday before Election Day. The last day you can vote is this Tuesday. If Trump or Harris or Jill Stein or whomever wants to do a big campaign stunt that is uniquely Vegas, what could they do?
Oh, they don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
So both of the major candidates, Harris and Trump, were in town yesterday. So what could they do? I don't know. Something slot machine oriented. I think they could commission, I don't know if you know the old school Big Bertha slot machines, which are just these giant creatures. Okay. So the world's largest slot machine, and it would have...
Slotzilla?
It'd be like...
At Slotzilla.
It would be bigger than Slotzilla, which is not a functional slot machine.
I would like to see them on Slotzilla, though. That's a good point.
Oh, you want to see them doing flying through the air?
Yeah, why not? That'd
that'd be a very Vegas way to advertise your campaign. Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to line up 3 donkeys or 3 elephants or something like that, and then whatever it is. Or maybe it's just a last-minute fundraiser for the campaigns that you could play the Democrat or play the Republican slot machine, which, is going to just make money.
That's meta.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one pays out more than the other. We won't say who. Go ahead.
Interesting.
Go ahead, Layla.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Layla.
So my biggest campaign advertising stunt, you remember when they turned the Luxor into a Dorito?
I do.
I think, that's great space, great ad space. Turn the Luxor, put your face on it. put a donkey on it, put an elephant on it.
Whose face is more triangular? That would fit in there better like a Dorito.
I mean, it would be very jarring, but straight on, if you're looking straight on, I think anyone's face can...
With a light shooting out of the top of their head.
Exactly.
Very
And color the light red or blue.
Oh.
Or, I mean, if you're Jill Stein, green.
Now we're talking.
I love that. Very Vegas.
Yeah, I think people would see that, like, anyone flying in.
Or you could do the Bellagio fountains, you could dye them red or blue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, change the strip. Make it very readable, make it seen.
You know, Vegas is very famous for boxing as well. I want to make it a little bit more old-timey. I would like to see the VPs, J.D. Vance and Tim Walz, square off against a mountain lion and see who wins.
You got my high-pitched laugh on that one, Sarah. That's a home run.
Yeah. But I do think that, like, Tim Walz, like, he's going to give it his all when he's wrestling the mountain lion, but they're going to hug it out at the end. Like... You know, he's going to make sure the mountain lion's okay. They're going to shake on it. It's going to be good. It's going to be really sweet.
I don't know. I see Vance treating the mountain lion like Colin Robinson from What We Do in the Shadows, just like draining the mountain lion's energy through a series of very insipid questions.
All right, Layla, Dayvid, thank you so much.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Dayvid.
Thank you, guys.
And go vote. You've got until Tuesday to vote. Go vote. Clark County matters.
Get our numbers up. Whoever you vote for, get those numbers up. Let's go vote.
Democracy, baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. Our interim executive producer is Layla Muhammad. Producer is Myron Kaplan. Our newsletter editor is Rob Katchel-Reese. And our hosts are Dayvid Figler and myself, Sarah Lohman. Music is by OG Moose, Epidemic Sound, and all the kimonos. We record this show on the traditional homelands of the Nawuvi, the Southern Paiute people. And hey, if you enjoyed this show, send it to a friend. Rate our show, leave us a review, and don't forget subscribe to our morning newsletter, Hey Las Vegas. We'll be back Monday morning with more election news from around the city. But in the meantime, go vote. Tuesday's the last day to vote. Go vote.